because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
You thought the game was over, but it's only just begun.
Well, to let Massacre known as safe, I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So we have some big news on Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. And man, there is a lot here to go over. We got some new still photos of some other creatures that will be joining Winnie the Pooh and Piglet in this film, and some other news as well, and some other quotes from the director about this film. Just to give you an overview of this film in general. Love him or hate him, Pooh Bear is back, and he is bloodier than ever in the Hollywood Reporter exclusive new stills from Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. Earlier this year, the micro-budget British slasher racked up an impressive $5.2 million at the global budget on less than a $100,000 budget. So needless to say, a sequel was a no-brainer, which the director has already said there's going to be a trilogy, so we're going to get one more film after Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. Directed and written by Reese Frank Waterfield, followed the bloody escapades of Pooh and Piglet left no room of feral after an adult Christopher Robin forgets about them. A grisly revenge slasher ensues. THR tells us that Blood and Honey 2 is currently in production with a bigger budget, more kills, and even an Oliver Award-winning BAFTA-nominated star in the form of Simon Callow, who has joined the cast. Alongside Callow, the sequel also stars Alua Evans, Scott Chambers as Christopher Robbins, Ryan Olivia as Winnie the Pooh, and Peter D'Souza Fagnoni as young Pooh. Says on what can expect from a sequel, Frank Waterfield teased bigger and badder. The sequel will feature new creature designs, a new cast, a high death count. However, this time Pooh and friends will be leaving the 100-acre woods to take their fight to a quiet community of Ashdown. That's really cool. So leaving the 100-acre woods, new creature designs, new everything. $5.2 million this film made. That's insane. Obviously, a lot of people were just very curious to see how this movie was going to play out. But a lot of people seen it, and that's great. The slasher sequel screenplay comes from Matt Leslie, who promised the Blood and Honey 2 will absolutely blow people away. And Sean Harrison, that did World War Z, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, will serve as a head of creature and gore design. What a job. The film was produced by Scott Jeffrey, who himself is directing an upcoming slasher adaptation of Bammy. We'll bring you more Winnie the Pooh. So there's oh my God. I mean, that's fantastic. They upgrade the creature and gore. We knew that they were going to be kind of changing up the costumes, but to be honest with you, I didn't think that there was going to be this big of a change. And I didn't even really know how much money they were making from the first film. So a bigger budget is always a great thing. And they're obviously putting that money into very related for, upgrades when it comes to their the SFX. Same cinematography as the last film, which I actually really liked the cinematography a lot. So I didn't really worry about that too much. But from getting another person that's who's getting they're getting a gore designer and a head of creature design with Sean Harrison that worked in World War Z, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. That's a huge upgrade. So they're obviously spending a little bit more money on making this thing look better when it comes to the costumes, which is great. So can't complain about that. I'm definitely going to go into more of what we're seeing so far. And when it comes to Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, and a few pictures, a few stills that we did get here. Our first one that we got earlier, like a week or two ago, was people didn't know who this was. Someone actually asked on Twitter what this was, and it was actually Pooh. And Pooh looks, obviously, I think there is a new Pooh actor, a new Piglet actor, so they recasted a lot of characters, which isn't a bad thing, okay? Not a bad thing, and it could come down to scheduling from certain actors and actresses, and maybe can't do this anymore, or Maybe they wanted to go a different direction, which Pooh looks like, you know, he's disfigured. He looks a little bit more thin in this picture. It looks like that's a bus or something that fell in the background or something that turned over and is on fire, which is kind of crazy. You have another picture of Pooh, I guess, in front of this little kid. And to me, like, they definitely upgraded the mask. It might look weird right now because we're not used to seeing a more... It looks more realistic, in my opinion. Like, it doesn't look like a bunch of dudes in costumes. Like, that's what the first... And it really didn't bother me. Like, they only had so much money to put out. And I understand that they can't go crazy with the costumes. But obviously, what's the most important thing to your Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movie? It's obviously how Pooh looks, Piglet looks. He's got that grizzled, like, mean look to him, and I really do like that. Another still that I actually really like, probably my favorite one, is that he's sitting in a cave. This might be at 100 Acre Woods. Maybe they start out that way. And Pooh's mask has a lot of... It looks really good. It looks like there's actual, like, bear type hands on Pooh. Like, it looks like his hands have these type of, like, realistic gloves that maybe don't look too costume-ish, but the facial expression, the way that mask actually looks, and it's obviously a new actor in there, so he looks a little... He's a big guy. He looks a little, maybe a little bit, you know, chubby a little bit, but not too much, just to make it look exactly like Winnie the Pooh, where he has to be some really big fat guy. It's not going to make, you know, it's not going to make a difference, because you want to make this a little different, and it gives you a more realistic effect. Maybe they're hungry, maybe they're, you know, maybe they're just going more crazy in the second film, which there's supposed to be a lot more kills. And Pooh just sitting there in his little red chair right there, I think he looks fantastic. I think it just looks more realistic into the story of what this is. We're supposed to be getting a young Pooh in this, so we might be getting some flashbacks with Christopher Robin maybe in this film as well. So they have recasted a young Pooh. They've recasted the main Winnie the Pooh. But not just that, guys. We have something that's even more amazing. Who is joining Winnie the Pooh? And obviously Piglet is back. So who is joining up? And it looks like Owl is joining up with his friends. And I gotta say, he looks pretty good. I can't lie. He's got, like, you know, he's got the owl feathers. Look at the prosthetics on the hand, the prosthetics on the masks look amazing. Even Piglet in the background looks different. He doesn't have the big horns coming out of his mask. They made him look more gritty, more disgusting, more... I just like the look of this so much. We're going to find out what Owl sounds like, I guess, in some aspect. I mean, I know none of them really do talk, and Piglet just makes the pig noises. I'm actually surprised Piglet is back. I wonder how he did survive the sledgehammer to the head a million times, and he was tied up by one of the final survivors that ended up dying in the film. But I think Owl looks great. I think Piglet actually looks the best that he has. And like I said, it looks non-costumish. It looks more realistic. It looks more gritty. It looks more like it should look disgusting. It should look pale. It should look like a darker version, and not just guys in costumes with black gloves on. I don't know if Piglet's actually wearing gloves or whatnot. It looks like he just has human hands. I don't know. I can't really tell there, but I love the prosthetic costume to Owl, the mask, and obviously the owl looking you know, rubbery hands, which I really do like. I think they all look amazing. I'm actually really excited for this. This is crazy. And we have a new still from Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin was recasted, like I said before. And I think you're going to get a more emotional, they probably upgraded actors. I think that's what it came down to, because I even wasn't really a big fan of the original actor that played Christopher Robin, because really all he did was yell in the whole entire movie. And I don't know. His wife gets killed. They're about to get married. He went to go visit his feral friends, and they turned on him for leaving to go to college a long time ago. So getting a new Christopher Robin, getting a recast is perfectly fine. A lot of recasts here, which means that if they wanted to keep everything the same, they could have kept everything the same and put a lot of money into other things, but they put money into everything. If they've recasted, they've definitely upgraded some salaries here and spent more money on actors, actresses, costumes, SFX work. We've seen a lot of stills so far. Now Owl is involved. I was hoping Tigger was going to be in this so bad, but I think in the third one, hopefully Tigger will show up for the final trilogy movie. So definitely a lot to really go over, you know, and let me know if you guys think this is going to be a more bloody type of movie, a lot more kills, and especially since now you have Owl coming into the mix. Now you have to give balanced screen time to all of these guys to really get the kills that they deserve. So, I'm excited. I'm seeing this in theaters. There's no doubt. Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 is going to be a wild ride that we are never going to forget. And I especially didn't forget the first movie. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like the costumes? Do you like the upgrades to the costumes? I think this is the best thing they needed, was putting more money. $5.2 million that they had worldwide on the first film with only less than $100,000 budget, and I don't know how much money they actually had. Hopefully that news does come out soon. This movie should be coming out by February, March of 24, most likely, and ready to go. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Keep running. Peace out.